I'm Jeffrey Burton.
How did you become involved in the Jessica Curran homicide case?
Well, I want to say 2007. I was at home, and somebody had actually called me, I think, and said something about a thing on MySpace, and they were saying something about me. So I got on there and read it, and that's where I first initially anything about the Jessica Curran case.
When you first saw that your name was thrown into it,
yeah.
How did you feel?
Like, what the hell? Excuse my language, but like I couldn't believe it. Like I didn't understand because I didn't know her. I just didn't understand why my name would even be thrown into it.
Can you mention how you became a father months before your arrest?
Yeah, my, I guess, high school sweetheart. We'd been together for a few years. I got her pregnant. We'd been off and on. Had a beautiful little girl, February 18th. And then like 4 days later, I turned 20. So I was like 19, I just turned 20. I loved her to death, was scared to death. You know, young, never been a daddy. It was the most beautiful thing, yeah.
Can you talk about the moment that you were arrested before being charged with the homicide of Jessica Curran?
Well, I think it all was at the same time as far as like being actually arrested. Are you talking about like when they came in?
So I want you to talk about being arrested first, because you weren't charged
until I was arrested.
You weren't charged until after the hotel, because you weren't charged then, correct?
Right. I got arrested at the hotel.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Can you start from there about when you the moment you were arrested and brought in for questioning?
Well, see, okay, they brought us in for questioning before we was arrested. So I think what you're wanting to ask me is when they took me to the hotel, the experience with that. Because what happened was they took us to a hotel, interrogated me in a hotel, then arrested me, and then took me to jail. You know what I'm saying? So the didn't really nothing happen after the arrest, so to speak. But I was at work at Stanley Steamer in Murray. They come pick me up. I felt like I didn't have no choice. I had to go with them. I can't remember if I was handcuffed at the time or not, but they took us to jury suites in Paducah, in some hotel room, and they're just saying a bunch of shit that I already knew was bullshit because we'd already talked to them. I'd already talked to the KBI, and I'm like, man, if you're here talking to me, you're definitely not the right people. You wouldn't be talking to me if you're a real detective. If you're real good at your job, you would not even be talking to me. So I could not comprehend. But they, I don't even remember what all they said to me. I know there's videos of it, but I still just like, even now, couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, all the stuff you're saying is not true. You're bringing in people that are lying. I mean, what am I to do? You know, what am I to do, man? That's why at the very last, when I should have said, man, give me a lawyer, which, I mean, I don't have anything bad to say anyway, so I didn't give a crap. But I was like, you know, just take me to jail, man. Y'all got all these lies, all these people saying this. What can I do against you? You know what I mean? But I don't know if I answered your question, but it sucked. It really sucked. Them bringing different people in, having me sit there listening to their lies, and just like, at the time, it's 2007, I couldn't believe then. You know what I mean?
In your mind, how did it feel at the time, knowing that you were being accused of, you know, being a murderer, among other things?
Yeah, man. I mean,
you didn't do it.
Just like the worst, ungodliest feeling you could have. Because to know something, like for instance, I know I'm innocent. That don't mean everybody else knows that. But with me knowing I am, and them arresting me and charging me with that, it's just like, this ain't, how is this, I can't even comprehend the emotions I was feeling. It's like unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, even now, after I spent time in prison, Quincy Cross is still in there having interviews with you, I'm still like, this can't even be real, man. How does this even happen? This is 2022 now, 14 years later after we were incarcerated. It just felt like, I don't know, bro. I don't really know the emotion for that. I don't wish it on nobody, if that makes any sense. But I don't have a label to put on it, man, except for terrible, man. Terrible.
So where you were at Quincy's trial, right?
No.
You weren't in the courtroom?
No.
Okay. After Quincy Cross was convicted and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole ×3, what were you feeling at the time, knowing that you and Tamara were going to take your cases to trial?
Right. Man, I was sitting in the jail cell. You only got so many channels. I knew the trial was going on. So I'm within myself like, man, finally something's gonna happen. Seeing on the news where they found him guilty, like reached inside of me and broke everything inside of me, man. Because I just knew I was going home because we are innocent. I didn't know him. I knew it was a lie. How are they gonna find him guilty on some bull crap? That's not true. But seeing that they did, it took everything inside of me and just crushed me, man. I don't want to say crushed every bit of hope, but it took like, to me, it was just as bad as initially. I don't know, man. It's just like, it messed me up bad. It really did. It took a whole lot out of me. Because it's hard to maintain, man, knowing that you are innocent and you're battling. Just being locked up in general sucks. So imagine being innocent on top of that. And then seeing somebody that you don't know, that you are charged with, get life in prison over a lie, and you're next. You're next. So it messed me up, man. It really messed me up.
Were you afraid that you would end up with the same fate?
Yeah, definitely. How would I not end up with the same fate? How would I not? They got him on a lie. They already got me on a lie. How are they? I mean, you know what I mean? Their system, their situation, their everything. How would I not be screwed? Does that make any sense? But that broke me, man. When I was sitting in jail and seeing that on TV, dude, because I just knew he was going home. I knew I was going home. And to sit there and see him get found guilty on TV, dude, it really hurt bad. Like, on every level I have, it crushed me, really.
After you went to court and took an Alford plea and were convicted and sentenced to prison, what was your reaction in court after hearing how many years you were going to spend in a penitentiary?
Like, if I'm not mistaken, the Alford plea, it was like an open plea or something, from like 10 to 20 years. The judge could give me anywhere between 10 to 20. It was up to the judge. And I think he gave me middle, 15 years. Oh, dude, it heart-wrenching. How am I supposed to, I mean, like, I've already been in almost 2 years. At first, I'm thinking, okay, I do another year, see the parole board, I might get to go home. You know, I had that hope. Then I'm like thinking, okay, if they serve me out, I gotta do this much time, then I get to go home to my family. So all I'm thinking about is going home to my family. But, like, I can't even fathom 15 years in prison, innocent. You know what I'm saying? I can't even, and I did it. And I still can't fathom how I lived through that. I don't know, man. But it's like, it just sucks, dude. I don't know no other way to put it. Like, it's hard for me to label how I felt, except for, I mean, it's crappy, man. Just like no hope almost. I don't want to say no hope because you got to always have hope, but dude, it broke me. This whole thing broke me so much, multiple times. You know what I mean? Because, like, I'm arrested. I know I'm innocent, so I'm thinking, okay, they're going to find out I'm innocent. You're going through the proper procedures, right? They're going to find out I'm innocent. Well, they do. They get Quincy Cross, found them guilty. How they do that? That's not even realistic. That's not realistic. So I'm like, I have no faith there. It just took everything of faith that I have almost out of everything as far as that goes, as far as the procedures they go in the court system. Does that make sense? Whether it be from the police to the lawyer to the judge to the prisons. The whole thing, man. Bad.
Were you ever afraid that you might not make it home to your family?
I wasn't ever afraid of anything like that. But I did have concerns as far as, like, man, you know, I took an Alford plea, so I'm in prison. You know, they think I'm a murderer, they think I'm a this or I'm a that. You know, I don't like that look, so to speak. Does that make any sense? Like, that's not who I am. But I think after people get to know me, get to this, they kind of see through all of that. But, like, especially when you first, you know, you think of prison, man, it's prison. I've never been to prison. I've been to jail. I've never been to prison. So I know initially, man, I was scared to death, dude. I was scared to death. Really. Not that I was going to die or this or that. I was just scared to death of the experience that I was about to have in the penitentiary.
Did you ever have any issues, whether having to fight for your safety or anything of the sort?
I never had a fight, especially over while I was in prison, over and stuff. I may have had a couple verbal altercations in the very beginning, like in jail or something, but I never really had any issues.
How did you get through your prison stint knowing that you were innocent and you were surrounded by rapists and murderers and people that were guilty?
Well, it made me question whether they were guilty or not. And they could have been guilty as all get out. It had me warped to where, man, well, maybe they're not guilty. And they could have been super guilty, you know what I mean? But it had me like twisted to where my balance got thrown off by that. So I'm automatically thinking, man, they might be innocent. I know surely I ain't the only one. Somebody else in there. So, you know, you hear different stories, this, that, and the other. I try to stay out of all that. I had a really good support system, man. And I was kind of, as far as prisons goes, I was at closer prisons to home, so I was able to have visits. You know, I had money sent to me. So I was able to live decent in there, which is a good thing. But at the same time, you're away from your family, you're innocent. I mean, what can you do? You know, so I read the Bible a lot. I took as many classes as I could to knock off my sentence, because with the plea that I took, the 15-year Alpha plea, I think it was like, you know, you have to do 20% before you see the parole board, which was 3 years on 15. They served me out on that. They wanted me to admit to doing all this stuff. I wasn't admitting to anything because I didn't do anything wrong. I said the same thing I've been saying. Boom, serve out. The rest of my time. So I'm thinking, oh, that crushed me again, crushed my family. So I'm like, all right, I got at least this many more years. So I'm trying to get it down even lower than that by doing like different vocational classes. You can get 90 days off your sentence. Do a masonry class, 90 days off your sentence. Kitchen class, 90 days off your sentence. So I did like all these programs to knock that 15 years, got it down to 7. And read the Bible a lot, did all them classes, visits with my family. I think I worked out, walked loops with my headphones on, played softball once or twice. That's really what I did and how I made it, man.
This next question, can you mention them by name, whether you did or didn't know them? Why do you think your name was placed in the name of suspects and perpetrators in this case by witnesses Victoria Caldwell, Rosie Price, and Venetia Stubblefield? I
have no idea why. I didn't know Victoria Caldwell. I knew who Rosie Christ was, but I knew her as a different name, Lynn Caldwell. I never knew her as a Rosie Christ. I think when I was younger, my mom and them used to drive the church van. They might have been on the church van or something like that, but I was like a kid then, so I don't remember 100%. But that's how I remember who she is, though, to some degree, if that makes any sense. It's from like the church van. But there's a lot of the Caldwells, and I don't know all of them. I get them mixed up. Venetia, I knew her. We wasn't buddies or nothing, but I mean, I lived in Mayfield. Everybody know who she is. I always called her Bug Eye. You see her walking around all the time. But
how did being convicted and serving time in prison for a crime you didn't commit affect your life, and does it still affect you to this day?
Definitely affects me today. It affects me every single day. I was telling Mr. Kern outside, or not Mr. Kern, I think I was telling David Cross, like every day, man, I question whether I did the right thing. You know what I mean? Every day I wonder, you know, what if? My life was completely different before I got incarcerated compared to what it is now. Completely different. Everything that I had is shattered and gone. Grown up, doing its own thing. I got to experience a lot of it. They come to visit me, get to see my kids grow a little bit through visit and stuff. And now even in 2014, my son was 2, man. He's 9 when I come home. My daughter was 14. My other daughter was like 11. So I missed so much, even though I'm still part of it. I missed so much. You know, at the time I was married, how can you expect her to sit here and wait? She came all the time, did what she could. I have nothing but respect for her for doing what she did. But I mean, it destroyed my life, man. Destroyed it. My bad. But it destroyed it, man.
Even though prison is a dark and scary place, do you feel like you gained any type of valuable knowledge or type of lessons or insights about yourself or life while being incarcerated?
I know for a long time while I was in prison, like I said, I read my Bible and stuff. And this guy used to tell me when I was in jail, he used to come visit me as preacher. And he would talk about being better, not bitter. And I tried to run with that and get better, not bitter. And I thought I'd done a lot of that. But it wasn't until I got home and seeing that my life was nothing like, or gonna be nothing like what it had once been. All of that was gone now. You know, it really, it just sucked, man. It just sucked. Because, I mean, here you not only have I lost everything that I once had to some degree, not saying that people look at me funny, but now I do have this over my head. So, you know, what can he do?
How did you feel upon being released from prison, being able to hug your children for the first time, not behind a cage or having people watch you?
I remember a snowy day, and some guys walked me to the gate to leave. I remember I first get out there, and there's my mom, my stepdad, my ex-wife, my kids. It's such a wonderful, great, and scary thing, all in one. And I say scary because I didn't know what the future held. A lot of times our expectations of what reality is going to be and what reality actually ends up being, they usually don't match up, you know. But getting to see them and hug them outside of that fence, like, we finally made it. We finally made it through this fucking hell, man. Finally made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that shit was hard. I finally made it through it. I was just grateful. I was just grateful. Grateful. Thankful.
Can you end with a statement about your innocence as well as a message to the Kern family?
I guess I would say to the Kern family, which I've already told Joe several times, like, my heart goes out to him. I've got three daughters myself. I can't imagine what he's went through the last 22 years. You know, I have him on a pedestal. I think a lot of him. I think he's a great man. Like we prayed outside, you know, justice for Jessica and justice for us, man. I don't know if both will happen or not, but that's what would be the greatest gift. You know, it's almost scary to feel like you have to solve a crime in order to get somebody innocent out of prison. You know, I'm not a detective. That's not my, I don't know how to do that stuff. But just the current friend, my heart goes out, man. That's really all, my heart goes out. And they know I've been trying my best to help find justice for Jessica too, man. But about my innocence, it really sucks, man, to be innocent and be in prison, man. That really fucking sucks. It does suck to be around motherfuckers who kill people and who's raped people and who's done all these bad things, or you don't even know what the hell they done. I try to stay out of that, you know, what goes on with them, but it is definitely was a hard thing to go through. I don't know, man. Being innocent, going to prison, being wrongly convicted. Quincy Cross is still in there. I don't even know him. It's just like, I can't even believe I'm still went through it, still going through it, or whatever you want to call it, man. It don't even make sense. But I am innocent. I'm tired of always having to say, yeah, man, I'm innocent. I mean, just somebody come look at this shit. Somebody come look, prove me wrong, man. I'm tired. I mean, it took everything from me. I can't, like you said about the crime, I can't imagine what they went through. My heart, I can't imagine. And I hate to be selfish on this. But we were innocent, man. They took our lives away also, man. Quincy's still in there. And I hope to God somehow all of this can get resolved. Justice for Jessica, justice for us. Somebody just look at it. That's what I say, man. Somebody just look at it. If you don't believe me, prove me wrong. Come look at it. Look. Just look. That's what I had to tell the Innocence Project. I said, man, if you just look at what they say, yeah. But if you look at what really is, if you go deeper, it all falls apart immediately, man. And not only but it's messed me up for the worse. It's messed me up for the worse. It's done that.